one of the most important things that Civic Scholars has done is that it really encourages me to be the best me that I can be.
Civic Scholars has probably been the most important thing that I have done here in college. I've definitely noticed the change in my own mentality. My decisions are so heavily infused with considerations of community impact.
Civic Scholars program really enabled me to sort of refine what I was looking to do and identify how I could align the passions I had outside the classroom with tangible need in the real world context.
During my first couple of years, I was very focused on being a student and was much more worried about what classes I was taking and how I was fitting in with the WashU community, but didn't really pay a lot of attention to the St. Louis community and maybe my role as a citizen. And since I was going to be here for 4 years and potentially longer, what was I doing to become a community member?
My Civic Scholars project, in partnership with Ashoka Innovators for the Public in their global office in Washington, D.C. And I worked with the Global Venture and Fellowship Coordinator as well as the Middle East and North Africa Liaison to work on how to strengthen social entrepreneurship networks for social change.
Basically, the project I ended up doing was a self-directed research project around improving learning outcomes for students using systems thinking tools. So enabling students to visualize really complicated problems using sort of drawings or modeling.
For my Civic Scholars project, I was in Washington, D.C. working for District of Columbia Public Schools, and I was on the teacher development strategy team. My primary project was developing an online system for teacher development.
Yeah, so this summer I was working at the High School to College Center here in St. Louis. It was actually its first year, and I was working as a counselor for students with disabilities at the center. And my specific focus and role was to help recruit students with disabilities to come to the center.
I was doing research on childhood obesity focused here in St. Louis. I was working partly in the West End neighborhood, and I was also working partly on national policy.
Broadly defined, it was a youth empowerment summer camp, and it was in the St. Louis neighborhood downtown. And it focused on 3 different components. It was science exploration, creative expression, and storytelling, and then more of a gardening and healthy eating focus.
For my Civic Scholars project, I was in Kreuzberg, which is a neighborhood in Berlin, Germany, working with the Humanity in Action Fellowship Program, which is a human rights fellowship that looks at histories of discrimination and how they apply to contemporary human rights issues. And so during the last week of the program, I was doing research at a refugee protest camp.
Something that I didn't necessarily know that I was going to get out of Civic Scholars was just the community.
The biggest part of how the Civic Scholars program has helped me in exposing me to people who think so differently than I do, but so intellectually.
I would say one of the most important things I've taken away from the Civic Scholars program is the idea that vulnerability is part of being a public servant and part of leadership.
Though I hope to go into medicine, like that is a career that needs to be partnered with civic engagement, and I think every career really should have that component where you lay down roots in whatever community you're in, and you know really try and become a positive force in that community.
I know it's only a 2-year program, but the impact it's had on the way that I think about my own potential for really creating positive change, and for me it's the education sector, but I know for all of us it's something different. It's been incredibly empowering, I think, and it just makes me really, really jazzed for all of the future Civic Scholars to come.